to MTG Friends. I'm Ryan. We're going to do a commander deck tech on Yidris Maelstrom Wielder. This was specifically requested by Dana in our play group. How can I say no to Dana? Let's do this. So Yidris has one main type of deck, which is Storm, mainly with Tendrils of Agony. You know, we're just not going to do that. Boring. This is one of those where the whole group that you're playing against is just going to sigh and go, man, F you. And then they watch you take a turn for 15 minutes while you storm the crap out of this. And it's basically one of those, hey, did you win? Did you not win? Hey, can I counter whatever crapola you're doing? There will be a link to that form of deck in the description. We're just not doing that. I decided let's do something that's more fun, more interesting than a comboed off Storm Yidris. So let's do it. And I'm not criticizing that deck. I just know you're gonna feel a lot of hate if you run that. And I just, you know what? I don't want to do that deck. That just seems super boring and tedious to me. So whatever. Again, no judgment if that's the deck you're looking for. It's all good in the hood. All right, so here we go. We got some packages. We got a bunch of protection pieces. We got some Annihilator. Yeah, you're gonna start seeing what we're up to here. Shizzle ton of ramp. So much ramp. A few Cascade cards. Plus it's built into the commander. A few draw pieces. A good amount of removal. And our normal amount of land. We got a serious amount of shenanigans going on and a few tutors to just make things work out for us. So let's go ahead and jump into the first package. But before we do, yeah, hit subscribe, hit like that. But that's not why I did the but. But what we're doing here is an Eldrazi almost tribal build, but not. We got a ton of ramp in here, and we're actually omitting most of the blue. Let's look at the color wheel, the color wheel, the color wheel. So we have very little blue production. We have very little black production and very little red production. So this is like almost entirely green for the ramp, for the getting our Eldrazi shenanigans out. It's not hardcore Eldrazi. It's more about Cascade, fun, protection, and let's just go. I think I've explained the crapola out of this. All right, so as you would guess, for Annihilator stuff, oh man, do I love Annihilator. And this isn't even really shoehorning this in because we got so much ramp. We're going to be able to drop some stuff on the board and go, boom! All right, Artisan of Kozilek. When you cast a spell, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you get a twofer if you can. Plus, it swings with Annihilator. And we have a funny little thing where we actually have anger in this build. So if you can actually drop this like it's hot and then have anger in your graveyard, what? Just don't do something silly and like bring anger back onto the battlefield, because then Artisan wouldn't have. Dude, my brain just went boo! Haste. Bane of Balaguette. I'm going to keep this in this episode. Whenever Bane of Balaguette attacks defending player, exiles 2 permanents he or she controls, which just means Annihilator, basically. Eldrazi Conscript. This one is seriously gross. For 8, you can enchant creature and it gets 10/10 with Annihilator too. I mean, these are game-winning pieces that you're going to be dropping onto the battlefield. Endbringer. Untap Endbringer during each other player's untapped step. This only costs you 6, which ain't too bad. Target creature can't attack or block, and for 2, draw a card. Boom, boom in the room. If that betrays, yes, all these have really high mana cost, but we have ramp, folks, ramp. Annihilator 2, whenever an opponent sacrifices non-token permanent, put that card on the battlefield under control. Let's go steal some stuff. Let's go steal some stuff. Oh, a good one. A good one. Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. Whenever you cast this spell, draw 4 cards. What? Annihilator 4 and Butcher of Tooth is put into a graveyard from anywhere. Its owner shuffles it into its library. Ulamog, the Infinite Guy. Like I was saying, you get any of these to stick, and you're basically winning the game. Whenever you cast a spell, destroy target permanent, indestructible, Annihilator 4. And if all of that wasn't good enough, whenever it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles that graveyard into their library. So it's got recursion into your library. What? All right, those are the Annihilator pieces in this really disgusting build. Apex Devastator for 10. Holy shnikes, 10? Really? A 10/10 that cascades. We needn't talk anymore about that card. Averna, the Chaos Bloom. It only costs 3, which is nice. As you cascade, you may put a land card from among the exiled cards onto the battlefield tapped. Ramp, folks. Ramp. Maelstrom Wanderer. Yes, it does cost a ton. 5 blue, red, green. Creatures you control have haste and cascade. Yeah, buddy. That's a game winner. That's a game winner right there. Mystic Forge. You may look at the top of your library anytime. You may cast the top of your library if it's an artifact card or a colorless non-land card. We got a bunch of this going on in this build. Pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library. Turn of the Wild Speaker for draw. We're really going to be using this for the draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control. And what I love the most about Wild Speaker is it's at instant speed. Yes. Rishkar's Expertise for 6. 6! Yes, but we're ramping. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. You may cast a spell with mana value of 5 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. Tower of Fortunes costs 4, pay 8, draw 4 cards. Moving on. All right, we have the typical land package in here, but with a twist. All right, Ancient Tomb, we know what all this stuff. All of the shock lands are in here. Most of the fetch lands. I mean, all the shock lands and all the fetch lands are in here for our color pips. Fetchy fetch. This one, tap for 3, draw a card if you have a creature 4 or greater, which is most definitely going to be happening. Cavern of Souls, because we do not want our Eldrazi's being countered. And that's how we do it with Cavern of Souls. City of Brass to get any color we need. Cost you 1 damage. Command Tower. Eldrazi Temple. Tap, add 2 to your mana pool. Spend this mana only. Cast Eldrazi. Yes. Not completely 100% Eldrazi travel in here, but it's close. Colorless Eldrazi spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. And for 7, you go search for a creature card that's colorless, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle. Yep. We are in green, very much so. So most of our basics are force. Just 1 island. Ketria Trium, that is in 3 of our color pips. Fetch land. Just 1 mountain. Shock. Fetch. Prismatic to crack and go grab a basic if we absolutely need it. Reliquary Tower, because there's a good chance we're going to have lots of cards in our hand. Sanctum of Ugin, add 1 colorless, and whenever you cast a color spell with converted mana cost 7 or greater, you can sacrifice it. If you do search your library for a colorless creature card, reveal it, put it in your hand. You get the theme here. Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. You can add 2. Spend this mana only to cast colorless spells. There you go. You can only activate that part if you have 7 more lands, which is most likely. Spider of Industry. Pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color. Activate only if you control an artifact, which we absolutely will. Yeah. All right, we got Tron in here too. Tron. Love Tron. Tron's great. If you can manage to get Tron going in here, you rock. All right, the other Triome, I think there's 2 or 3. All right, we're out of the lands. Enough with the lands. All right, we got some protection. Hammer of Nazin. Whenever Hammer of Nazin or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach that equipment to target creature you control. Equipment creature has 2/0 and has indestructible. So it's more the indestructible part. You can't deal with exiling. Heroic Intervention. Everything gets hexproof and indestructible. Yes, sir. Super awesome except for against Mass Exile. Lightning Greave. This is the one that you can equip for nothing and has Shroud, so you can't attach other things when you have this one on. Swiftfoot Boots. Hasty Haste. I can't remember. Does this give you haste too? Yes. Lightning Greaves, of course, gives haste. Haste and more haste. Yes, yes, yes. All right, Whisper Silk Cloak. If they got a wide board, you can't quite crack them, then you put Whispering Cloak on equipped creatures, unblockable, and has Shroud. All right, Ramp. We are Ramp-alicious Rex in this. This is serious ramp. All right, Arcane Signet. Birds. A bird. Bird, motherfucker. Burgeoning. Whenever an opponent plays land, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. This one is super bueno, especially early in the game. Only costs you one to get this out. Whew. All right, Burnished Heart. We can sack it for 3. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them on the battlefield. Tapped, yo. Chromatic Lantern to get every color we need out of lands if and when we need it, yo. And it's a mana rock itself. Collective Voyage. Join forces. It's more beneficial for us to have tons of land than our opponents, typically speaking. So starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player searches his or her library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the total amount of mana paid this way. Put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle his or her library. So, yeah, we can really ramp. People are going to really wonder if they should put into this spell when they figure out what you're up to, which hopefully is too late. All right, Conduit of Ruin. This is more ramp. Whenever you cast Conduit of Ruin, you may search your library for a colorless creature card with converted mana cost 7 or greater. And mainly, the thing is, the first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. That really helps out in the pitch. Plus, you got a 5/5 body out there that only costs you 6. That does extra stuff. Cultivate. Yes. We got the signets that matter. We got the mirror. Black, blue. Expedition map to go fetch our Tron. 2 tap, sack, search your library for land card, which you're most likely going to go grab one of the Urza lands. Exploration, you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Now, if you want to tweak this just a little bit and get a few landfall creatures in here like Morog or I don't know, there's a few others. You could absolutely swap out some of the Eldrazi, especially if there's like expensive ones you don't have and you're not going to play and you're not going to proxy. You could put in Avenger, you could put in Morog, you could put in some landfall creatures specifically because we are ramping the crap out of this deck. All right, Signet for black-green, Gruul Signet. Kozilek Channel, add 2 to your mana pool. Cost you 5, it's 4/4, and you can tap for 2. Mana Crypt. Yep, Mana Crypt. Tap it for 2, does 3 damage to you if you lose a flip at your upkeep. For some of these more expensive mana rocks, you can absolutely swap these out for Mind Stones, etc., some other Signet. You get it. You get it at this point. If this isn't your first time, you're checking us out, y'all. Mana Fault, same thing. Tap for 3, doesn't untap. You got to pay for it, blah, 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 blah. You know what Mana Vault is at this point, right? Right. And if not, I'll explain to you. Agnosium. Metalworker, a super expensive card at this point, which is ridiculous. Like some few years ago, this was not this expensive. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Reveal any number of artifact cards in your hand. Add 2 colors mana to your mana pool for each card revealed this way. Yes, swap it out if you don't have it or proxy it. You can easily put in another mana rock of your choosing. Nissa's Pilgrimage for 3. Search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards. Reveal those cards and put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the rest into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Spell Mastery. If there are 2 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard, you can do 3 instead, right? Search your library for up to 3 basic forest cards instead of 2. Yeah. Sweet. This is pretty cool. And just keep in mind, you can fetch up Shocklands, Triomes. It's all good. It's all good, y'all. Oracle of Moldiah, so that we can play an additional land each turn, and we can look at the top of our library to also play a land. Or top of your library is just auto revealed. Palladium Mirror for 2 colorless. Sky Shroud Claim, love this card in green. You're going to see this in almost any green build, almost. And it's a 4-drop to go fetch 2 forests, not basic forest, but forest, and they come in untapped. That is about as good as it gets, folks. Soul Ring, yep. Solemn, so we can ETB, grab a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then we draw when it dies. Sylvan! Yes, Sylvan. Sylvan is badass. Look at 3 cards. If you draw an additional 2, you pay 8 life. 4 per, except for your regular draw. This one is in here kind of as a no-brainer. You might be thinking to yourself, oh wait, why was that in draw? That should be, or ramp, that should be in draw. We're going to fix that. People. Grand Dynamo, tap for 3, colorless, cost 4 to get out. All right, removal. All is dust, 7. Each player sacrifices all color permanents he or she controls. That's going to hurt them way more than it hurts us. Yes. Reset button, damnation. Oblivion Stone, also a reset. For 4 tap, put a fate counter on target permanent. 5 sack, everything goes away. That's not a non-land permanent or has one of those counters on it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Bob. Thought Not Seer for 4. When Thought Not Seer enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it and exile it. Yeah, you don't get that card. When Thought Seer leaves the battlefield, they get a draw card, which, that's fine. Whatever. Ugin. Colorless spells you cast cost 2 less to cast, which is the main reason we got this in here. And for one uptick of loyalty, woo! Exile the top card of your library face down and look at it. Create a 2/2 color spirit creature token. When that token leaves the battlefield, put the exiled card in your hand. I mean, there you go. And you can down tick it for 3, destroy target permanent. That's 1 or more colors. Yes, sir. Ugin the Spirit Dragon, so wonderful. I'm glad it's in this deck. +2, Ugin the Spirit Dragon deals 3 damage to any target, whatevs. -X, exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less. That's 1 or more colors. Most likely whack-a-moling your opponents, not you. And its ultimate, if you manage to get there, is you gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. That's a ridiculous ultimate. All right, we got shenanigans. Ooh, let's get back to shenanigans. There we go. Ancient Stone Idol. This one isn't like super exciting, except costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature, which, I mean, we're probably not going to have a ton, but it's got flash, which is super bueno-licious. You can flash this in to do block. You can flash this in at the end of their turn, so we have a creature swinging in. When Ancient Stone Idol dies, create a 6/12 colorless construct artifact creature token with trample. There's that too. It does cost 10, but you know what? We got all sorts of stuff that cost a ton. Anger for 4, has haste, and if it's in the graveyard, and you control a mountain, which both are going to be likely. The mountain thing, we got a lot of dual lands in here, so we'll probably have the mountain too. But just remember, you got to have the mountain too. Wow. Okay, everything gets haste. Blightsteel. I just love when I can shoehorn this card in here because it's hilarious. Trample, Infect, Indestructible, and if for some reason you can give it haste, then you just won. Because Infect, you only have to have 10 Infect damage to a creature. This thing is ridiculous. Karn Liberated for 7. Target player exiles a card from their hand. -3, exile target permanent. And its ultimatum, which is just so ridiculous. Restart the game, leaving in exile on non-aura permanent cards exiled with Karn Liberated. Then put those cards on the battlefield under your control. That ultimate is so bananas. but its uptick is 4 each time, so it really doesn't take much to get there. But you're most likely going to exile target permanent or exile a card from their hand. It just depends. It depends what you're up to. Oblivion Sower. When you cast Oblivion Sower, target opponent exiles the top 4 cards of his or her library. Then you may put any number of land cards that player owns from exile onto the battlefield under your control. Boom. This is one of those Eldrazi's that actually isn't very expensive. Mana-wise, too. Path Razor of Ulamog. Annihilator, but it's also some shenanigans. Can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put that back in the Annihilator section. Sire of Stagnation for 6. It's devoid, which we really don't care about. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, that player exiles the top 2 cards of his or her library, and you draw 2 cards. Woo! This thing does a lot for 6. For a 6-drop, it does a lot, and it's got a 5/7 body as well. Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. Whenever you cast Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, exile 2 target permanents. Indestructible. Whenever Ulamog attacks, defending player exiles the top 20 cards of his or her library. Keeping a straight face reading that is very difficult. Very difficult indeed. Void Winnower is such a difficult card to deal with as an opponent. Your opponents can't cast spells with even converted mana costs. It's like, what? Why does this card exist? Your opponents can't block with creatures with even converted mana costs. Reiterating that statement. Why does this card exist? And it does exist, so therefore it's in our deck. World Breaker. Whenever you cast World Breaker, exile target artifact, enchantment, or land. It's got reach. And for 3, sacrifice the land. Return World Breaker from your graveyard to your hand. Shenanigans. Shenanigans, indeed. We got a few tutors, the ones you'd expect. Demonic Tutor. Put a card in your hand for 2. Grim Tutor. Search your library for a card. Put that card in your hand. Then shuffle your library. You lose 3 life. You, by all means, can put whatever damn tutors you want in here. These are just the ones I decided. Vampiric Tutor, put on top of your library. Notice you don't have to reveal it. Cost you 2. Worldly Tutor to go fetch up a creature we might want. You do have to reveal it, but it does only cost you 1 green. We like this, and we're mainly in green. Alright, then there's the maybe board. That's it, folks. So I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this type of build, with these types of synergies. Now, of course, you can swap in and out some of these Annihilator cards, because a lot of these are kind of spendy, but you know what? We don't do budget decks. We don't do them. If you want budget, then you just swap out with maybe board stuff, or you just swap out some of these creatures for stuff that's a little less expensive. You know, it is what it is. But you should be used to that by now. Thanks for checking us out. This was lots of fun. I think you're going to love this concept of a deck. And as I said, the typical thing you're doing with Yidris is Storm. And it just, I think it's going to just irritate the crap out of your play group. And they're not going to want to play against that deck. Although this does have a bunch of really gross stuff too. So maybe the same stands for this. So hey, whatever you want, y'all. If you want to do the Storm deck, do it. Do it. But I think you'll have more fun doing this one. All right, peace out. MTG Friends. Woohoo.